second.
Let's go, Tall Boy Radio Show. Voices loud, you know, feeling that late night glow. Stories flowing fast, riding on this broadcast. Memories, they will last. Raise your glass up high. Turn it up, it's time. Tall Boy on the line. Memories, they will last. Raise your glass up high.
Welcome back to episode 329 of the Tall Boy Radio podcast. And as we always say, who knows where it goes when the beer flows? Well, I can tell you that beer has flown all the way to Italy and it's taking Gaz with it today. He's taking a last minute flight and he's headed off out there. And I can't say I blame him one bit. But while he's not here, I'm going to have to do some little bit of housekeeping and give you some numbers. So I want to say hello to countries 90 through 95. So hello to Ethiopia, Morocco, Kazakhstan, or Kazakhstan, doing my best Borat accent, Costa Rica, Azerbaijan, and Uzbekistan. It's a really unusual list of countries that we got added overnight, but thank you very, very much for joining us. And you joined us as I hit a milestone of my own as well. Anybody who listens to this podcast and follows us on Instagram knows I drink a different beer every single week. The one I've got on the go right now is $499. And 500 is the Chubbles, the limited edition release from Cloudwater and the Veil, the 2026 edition, which I'm excited about. But enough about that. Let's talk about the veil of another kind. We're going to lift the veil and look behind it into potentially an alternate universe. Who knows? We'll find out what these two gentlemen think about it when we say hello to them. Chris and Jake, do you want to say hello and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Absolutely. My name's Chris. I am the host of Supernatural Collaboration Media. It all started one night in Iron Rose Customs. That's my brother Jake. We were building the shop and I told him this idea of, I love sharing ghost stories. And everywhere I go, anybody I meet, that's always the question that pops up. So we started talking and it was like, yeah, you have to do this. That is some idea you got there. And it took a little while, but then it popped off. People like to share their stories.
So, I've just before we get to yourself, Jay, I just want to say something here. So, I've watched a lot of your videos on there. Are you the guy who voices them then?
I am.
I tell you what, my friend, you have an excellent voice. I was listening to that back, and your control of your voice, I thought this is some of the best AI voiceover I have ever heard. Honestly,
I'm gonna blush.
That's blowing my mind.
Well, growing up, everybody was like, man, you should be on radio or voiceover or something. And I was like, I'm not interested. So I was like, okay, paranormal, my voice, maybe.
Dude, I'm telling you, there's some voiceover work out there for you. I'm telling you, it can happen.
I hope so. Thank you so much.
Oh, that blows my mind. So go on, tell us a little bit about Iron Rose Customs. Obviously that's where the idea was founded. Right. Tell us a little bit about that, because that in itself is a little bit of a project, wasn't it?
So my name's Jake. I'm owner and operator of Iron Rose Custom, master technician and welder. I was a master technician for Harley for 20 years, and I just decided it's time to go on my own thing. I really like doing custom work. I really like making mechanical art. I really like doing custom builds, so it was just time. And one day we ordered everything to build a garage, and it really worked out. I mean, I got a Home Depot credit card and just went for it.
I remember that day.
And I built this whole thing with my bare hands. I built the entire thing.
Wow. I mean, like we talked a little bit at the start in the green room there as it is. I'm here in the UK, and as we were just saying, I've got some American lineage myself, and I've grown up, over here in the UK. And we look over to America, and we hear about the American dream, about people who build their dreams up from the ground. Well, that's a little bit of what you've done, isn't it? Really,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly what it is.
Yeah, we don't mess around over here. When we get an idea, we go for it.
That day.
Yeah, we did it that day. It took us, I mean, what was it? -10 in the snow.
Yeah, I remember that phone call.
Yeah, it was probably -10 degrees while we were building the whole thing throughout a couple months.
But you're looking at the finished product. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's a functioning, running shop. It's crazy.
Okay, for those then out there who aren't familiar with motorbikes, now I should say as well, Andy, who I'd say he occasionally hosts the show, but it's probably been about 50 episodes since we managed to convince him to come on. He drives a Harley himself. He has the Fat Bob, I think it is.
Yep.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah.
Yep.
And so now it's a very nice looking bike. So tell us a little bit about what you do then.
What I do to bikes?
Yeah. What the whole process involves.
In which case, like building them or fixing them, repairs, custom work?
Yeah, mainly the custom work, I think, to be honest with you. I mean, do you focus on Harleys or do you do all types of bikes?
All types. I mean, this is a Triumph right here, and I'm rebuilding the whole thing.
Wow.
So yeah, like custom work that's the most fun. That's what I really like to do. But how do I say it? I do a lot of work that dealerships won't take in. So like any really hard job, that's mostly what I take in. Like when dealers are like, yeah, this one. When dealers are like, yeah, we're not going to take that in, that's mostly the work that I get.
Cool.
Yeah, but custom's my favorite. Like I love doing engine work, cams, top ends, bottom ends, giant cranks. Like I love all of it. I love everything to do about repairs. I love welding. I do a ton of woodworking. Metal work is one of my favorites. Like
Artwork as well.
Yeah, I do a ton of metal artwork.
Beautiful artwork.
I do a ton of painting.
Okay. I mean that is very, very impressive. I've got to say, it is impressive. So, have you built your own bikes? Then have you built them literally from the wheels up?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. If you don't mind me asking, where did you get the skill? Obviously, you work for Harley. Yeah. How did that come about? You going to work for them?
So when I was 18, I packed up a trailer and I moved to Florida by myself with a guitar and a motorcycle on the back of a sedan and a U-Haul trailer. And I went to Motorcycle Mechanics Institute for almost 2 years. After that, I came back. I started working for a dealership and I stayed there for almost 19 and a half years. And I started my own thing. It just got to the point where I was like, this is my goal. My goal since I was 15. I mean, I've been on 2 wheels since I was 12. And I got the site when I was there, and that was just it. I taught myself how to weld when I was a kid. I got my motorcycle certificate, dyno jet certificate. I have been shipped around the country almost 20 times to get my master tech certificate twice. I have over 230 certifications, or PhDs is what Harley calls them.
No, that's fair enough. Yeah,
I just went for it. You know what I mean? I got that look in my eye, and my pupils got a little more dilated, and I just went for it.
And that's not all the qualifications. He can keep going. But...
Oh no, I believe you. I do. I believe you. Gee whiz! I mean, it's it's more than a passion, isn't it? This goes a little. This is headed towards like a level of obsession. So, how often do you get? Like you say, if it gets icy out there, that's kind of not a biker. You never guess by the mustache, but I've never been on 2 wheels in my life. How risky is it taking those bikes out on the icy roads?
Oh, it's risky. Yeah, you want to see some X-rays?
Have you had a couple of crashes then?
Oh, a few. That's a PG way of putting it.
Especially one on the ice.
Yeah, that one. That was a good one.
That was a tumble.
Wow. So what? Broken bones and what have you?
Yeah. You want the list?
Able to walk away though.
Every time, whether it was out of an ambulance or emergency room, I still walked away.
I think the Triumph, you actually pushed the bike home, didn't you?
No, that one. Okay. So yeah, I had to rig that, and I actually used a cigarette butt to use as a clutch handle because the clutch handle plunger was broken off.
The Customs and Iron Rose.
That was when I was a kid, though. I mean, I'm 38 years old now. That stuff hasn't happened in a while.
No, that's good. That's good to hear. Because I mean, there's a saying over here, like there's Stephen Fry. I don't know if you're familiar with Stephen Fry. He's a British comedian, and a general stand-up English gentleman, and he does a joke like, you know, he was in hospital waiting for an operation, or it was someone in waiting for an operation, and he made a joke, and you know, they're asking about when the organ would be available, and he says, well, it's starting to rain and the bikers are out, so you never know.
That's perfect.
Yeah. It's to be honest with you, I'm a little bit risk adverse, so I think that's what puts me off. I'm also clumsy as shit, so I'm motorbike.
Welcome to the club.
Hey, right here, big and clumsy.
That's why we have to keep the shop so clean. There's a zip tie on the floor. We're going down.
Yep.
Nice. So then tell me a little bit about the Supernatural Collaboration Media. It's an unusual name. It's a great name, to be fair. It really does sort of sum up what you do. But tell us a little bit about the idea behind it that led to it first.
So Supernatural Collaboration Media is actually a videography company that I own. And it all started with videoing my brother doing his shop. And then we talked about, like we talked about earlier, the supernatural part of it, like making that the paranormal podcast. And then it just evolved into the podcast. The podcast is actually kind of getting bigger than the video part, just because it grew so quick. But I enjoy filming a lot. So like it's kind of hard to transfer from filming to supernatural. But like you said with the Tall Boy podcast, and then you tried to go to paranormal, you know, you chose the origin. But yeah, it all started with filming. And then that night I told him my idea, and it just blew up.
Yeah. So tell our listeners what that idea was. What was your concept behind Supernatural Collaboration Media? Sorry.
People calling in and sharing their stories, because I asked so many people, like, do you have any paranormal experiences? And they would go, oh my God, this one time and this other time. And it was like, man, I wish I could just sit down with these people all day and have people tell me their stories, because it's so intriguing. Not just ghosts, not just anything. UFO people, everybody has a UFO story, even non-believers. Like, oh, I don't believe anything, but this one time I did see up in the sky. It's like, there you go.
Yeah.
So everybody just has a story to tell, and I love to hear it, and other people do too. So that platform just works perfectly.
That's amazing. We did an episode actually where we talked about UFOs, and someone contacted us during that and saying that they'd seen something, and we tried to get them on, but they were worried about coming on and people taking the mickey out of them, because there is a little bit of a stigma still, I think, about the paranormal and about people who've seen UFOs, isn't there? You know,
tons, so much backlash.
There is. So when you first started, you know, did you have to convince these people, look, you know, we want to share your story, and we ain't going to take the piss out of you. This is something that we're genuinely interested in.
Pretty much convinced myself to, you know, get on the air with these stories and all that stuff, especially because the backlash, you know what I mean? It's like this guy with the deep voice is going to talk about ghost stories. Okay, 6'5" almost, and you're into ghosts. Okay, but no, like people are sending willingly. You know what I mean? There's no ifs, ands, or buts. They want to share. So there's no, people aren't afraid to tell their story. So that's really cool.
That's great. Yeah, that is great. Just out of interest, then, you know, and I often think this, whenever you speak to people about the paranormal and they're asking to hear stories and they've got interested in it for a reason, quite often it's because of a reason or an experience that they've had themselves. So is there something that you two guys have come across, or individually, or, you know, or together, any experience that you've had that really got you interested and intrigued?
So we grew up in the same house, and it was haunted as shit, but somehow I was the only one that got the same experiences all the time. The only like experiences that we have is the water droplets we used to see coming from the doorways. Like the top of the doorway, you'd be walking by, and as you'd be walking by, you would see this drip, and it was like you expect to feel a raindrop or something on the floor, and there was nothing. And then finally, nobody said anything, because if you see raindrops, it's like, okay, I'm just going nuts. I'm not going to tell anybody. But then one day we were all in the kitchen, and he came in and he was like, okay, does anybody else see these drops of water? And we were all like, all four of us, there's four of us in the family. We were like, yes, absolutely. We're so glad we're not crazy. There's a few other things that were kind of alike, But yeah, that house was so haunted. I don't know how. I think me and my mom had the most experiences. Our older brother, nothing at all. But that house started it all. I mean, you would go up the stairs. I had, like, my friends' moms at the time were really young, so their mom would drop them off. One of them wouldn't walk in the house. She was like,
Okay.
I can't do it. She dropped her son off, and she was like, nope, can't walk in. Still talks about it to this day.
That says it all, doesn't it? If someone like that is still talking about it to this day, then something has really, really scared the shit out of them. That's interesting.
Yeah, the attic was the most creepy. Like, it was just, you didn't want to be up there at all.
So, did you? I mean, so like you say, so I used to work in a restaurant, and that they had some tales there about how it was haunted. And I've had the odd experience or two there that made me question things. Did you ever try and do a little bit of investigating, try and find out the background of the house, or try and figure out what it was that was haunting it?
No, I was pretty young.
Well, it was the Sheehan's house.
Yeah, we knew it was the Sheehan's house. It was Mrs. Sheehan that owned it.
Well, let's not go too far with people's names.
Yeah, oops, sorry. Edit live. I don't know if that's possible.
We
But,
can believe.
yeah, I used to see her around the house. She used to visit me at night. And the coolest thing is, with people calling, there's a like story from mine and that caller. So when I was listening to it, I'm getting goosebumps right now, just because it was like, wow, we have the same experience. I don't know whether it was the same person, probably not. But it's just cool knowing that somebody else had that experience as well.
Wow, that's crazy. That's crazy. I'll share an experience with you, and this is one that really that I found unusual. So, like I said, American relatives. So my dad didn't know who his dad was, and he was an American soldier from Oklahoma, and he went back to the States after the Second World War. My nan was supposed to go with him for one reason or another. She didn't end up going, and that lineage was lost. So my dad never really, he grew up without really knowing truthfully who his dad was, knew a little bits about him, but not very much. But that, and it got to a point where, in his life, he kept saying he was going to track him down. And I said, listen, is it okay if I look into it a little bit myself? So I did. I tracked him down, and I managed, with the information that I took from my nan before she passed, God rest her soul, and I managed to find and get in contact with some living relatives. My granddad had passed, so that was unfortunate into them. But always thought that could have been the case given their age, and so I got in contact with a cousin, my cousin Bo, who's been on the podcast a number of times, and I wrote in this letter because I'm old, so that's what I do. I write letters, right, as well as emails and stuff. And I posted it out to him, and he got this letter, and he was blown away by it. Now, the reason why he was blown away is because of an experience that his dad had told him. So his dad lived in his granddad's property in Nettleton, Mississippi, and it's on old Indian ground because the ground was given to him because he's part Cherokee. There's a little pinch of me that's Cherokee, which is quite unusual.
Cool. Nice.
Yeah, living here in Cheshire, I don't suppose there's too many people who can say that. So there's this story of, so after my granddad had passed, and my uncle, which would have been my dad's brother, so Bo's dad, was in the house, and he invited this lady over who was a medium, or claimed she had medium powers, and she was in the room, and he was showing around the old property, and she said, look, I just need to make you aware there's a gentleman in that room, and he's really, really angry. He's screaming at me, and that's his guitar up there on the wall, and he's really angry, and like, my uncle, as it were, was sort of, well, okay, you know what I mean? I'm not really know what to make of this story. And carried on taking her around the house, and he went to this other room. And she said, he's in this room, and he's screaming at me. He's really, really angry. He wants me to leave. And he goes, well, this was his room. This was the room that he slept in. But I don't understand why he will be angry. And she said, it's because I know something that he doesn't want you to know. And so, like, well, what is it? It can't be that bad, can it? And he says, well, you have a brother in England. This is something, you see, he had never passed on that story, that he had any, that he had, that my dad was born. He'd never told any of his relatives out there. So it was really weird. So Walter didn't really think anything of it at that time. And then I sent this letter, and I passed it on to Bo, and he went and told his dad, and his dad literally said the color just drained from his face because that was an experience which he was only third party to, didn't really buy into it, but now it turns out to be true, and that is a really weird thing to say to somebody if you don't know that it's true.
Absolutely.
You wouldn't make that kind of stuff up, would you?
No. There'd be no connection.
No, really bizarre. Yeah, really, really bizarre. So
that would have been a great episode for my podcast.
I can stick it in an email.
Please send it my way, please. That's excellent.
I'll get Bo. I'll get Bo to tell it, because I tell you what, he tells it a lot better than I do, and he's got a much better accent than I do as well.
I think your accent is lovely.
That's awesome. I'm smiling ear to ear. It's awesome.
Yeah, Americans seem to enjoy the English accent. I don't know what it is.
It's relaxing.
I'll mention that to the wife, because she doesn't find what I have to say relaxing a good portion of the time.
Well, it's live, so she'll hear.
She won't be listening. But yeah, so in terms of the stories then that you get sent, tell us a few then. Which are the ones, like, so you've got the one that resonated with you because it was a very, very similar sort of experience. I have to just quickly say hello to Big Tiddy and China as well, who are friends of the podcast. They're based in Oklahoma, 2 podcasters from Oklahoma who are going to do a new episode soon, they assure me. So yeah, tell us a few about some of the stories then that you've heard that you've then turned into episodes.
Okay, so resonated, like I told you about the old lady sitting on the person's bed, but I want to say the scariest one that I ever received. It's up there. You'll find it. I don't know if you listened to it, but it was a abandoned mental institution that these people broke into, and the patients actually like carved these nonsense sayings in their cells. And some of it, I think the scariest part were there was people in there with them that didn't belong there. And they were writing like, I don't belong here. I was put by this and this, and my family said I did this, but I really didn't do it. And then at the end of the episode, there was this big bang, and they're thinking it was one of the cell doors. And then they just ran. And there was a couple of pictures that came in the email, but now they're gone. I tried to download the attachments. They're gone. I wish I had them. If you're out there, please send them to me again, because those pictures were crazy. It said some of the things that were on the walls. Sorry, excuse me. And it was just that one of them was the, I don't belong here. Then the other one was very vulgar, and I won't repeat it on air, but please, if you're out there, send them my way.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, you can understand. I mean, there's an idea, isn't there, that where there's turmoil, the spirits are pulled back to that sort of time in their life, or maybe they never actually properly leave. Where there's turmoil, you do find that these spirits, places like institutions, prisons.
Well, that was their home at one point. That's all they're connected to, was that place.
That's it. They're sort of tell them. So just out of interest, then, you've got this, the ghosts and what have you, phantoms, whatever you believe, spirits. What do you think they are? Interestingly enough, because you don't have to share your any religious beliefs with me. That's not what I'm asking here necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of people do believe in that, and because there's so little evidence that you can actually physically point to and say this is paranormal,
right?
This is supernatural. It does require an element of belief. So what is it that you do believe that these sort of happenings are attributed to?
So my understanding would be, a lot of people say, oh, they had unfinished business, like to each his own. My take on that would be they didn't want to leave. Either, you always hear there was a bright light. They didn't take that bright light. They didn't want to leave, whether it was because they didn't want to leave their family behind. They wanted to watch over them, or they just were afraid and didn't want to take the ride up. That's kind of my theory, if you will. A lot of people have different ones, but that just kind of makes sense to me.
So, like souls, the souls of those who passed.
Absolutely, yes. And I heard that, like, when people pass, there's still some kind of electricity that's in their body that leaves after they're passing. So I'm guessing that's some type some type of soul that's staying here.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know exactly how they've gone about proving this. So don't take me at my exact word. But I do believe that when the human body passes, it weighs on average about 3 ounces less the second that it passes. And the idea is that's the weight of the soul. There's something physical leaves the body, not just something spiritual, but something physical.
Yeah, I haven't heard that, but that is an awesome, awesome thing. I haven't heard
Yeah.
that, but that makes so much sense. That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know exactly how that's been proved, so I can't necessarily say it's bang on science, that Stephen Hawking would have come up with.
Right,
But
right.
yeah, but at the same time, it kind of makes sense. What about yourself, Jake? Is that what you believe also?
So I am not a believer in that, to be honest with you. I support my brother. I love hearing the stories. I find it very interesting, but I'm not really into it.
No. Okay. That's
But I
interesting.
do love hearing the stories. I mean, it's like reading a book every night when Christian comes over in the garage and I'm working on stuff and he tells me these things. Like I am super interested in it, but
Yeah.
I'm not.
And you gotta imagine I'm like a 5-year-old kid. It's like, come on, listen to this one, listen to this one.
I love hearing the stories. Like I really love it. I look forward to it every day, but I'm not really into the ghost and supernatural. Like,
Yeah,
but it's very fun to hear Christian tell me about the things and like explain what might be, what might not be.
Yeah.
It's very fun. Like
While
when
he's
I'm
working
just
on a bike.
right, when I'm working on a bike and he's just going off about Casper or whatever the hell he's talking about. It is something I really look forward to every day.
Oh no, I bet. And then listen, and just out of interest, then, so you lived in the same house growing up, this haunted house. Did you have many experiences in there, just out of interest?
I did not. I
Besides,
saw the drops, but that was about it. And I've never really believed in it. But again, like it is very fun to. It's like watching a movie every day. You know what I mean? Like you get a different movie every day with Christian stories. You know what I mean? It's very fun.
and he puts up with him. He was working on the bike and I just tell him hours and hours.
You
of
can only
stuff.
listen to the same song so many times. You know what I mean? My YouTube isn't the greatest.
No, I know what you're saying. But funnily enough, I knew you were going to say that. I knew you were going to say you didn't have those experiences. And I'm inclined to all the different episodes that we've done, the different people who spoke to. We spoke to a lady who had a poltergeist living in a house, and the people who were in tune to it have the experiences. The people who believe will see the things. We had a lady on from Tennessee who works in hospitals, and obviously some of the grief that she sees, and some of the and she sees people who she's convinced have passed on to another world, because she's really, really open to it. The other people who she works with probably think she's batshit crazy at times,
Right.
but she well, she might be, but she seemed pretty sane when I spoke to her. But the people who believe, I honestly believe they will be sought out. They will see the things because they're open to it. We've had a couple of psychics on here. A guy called Drew on. Evan Gray's been on a couple of times, and he's going to be on a couple of weeks' time. He's on, I believe, and he's based in Florida. He's done a tarot reading for us, and he's very much obviously in tune with those sort of things, and he's very open to it, and very open to the idea. And I do believe if you are, that's when you can see things. So, Chris, what is it about your character then? Because I find this, me and my brother, we're very similar in many ways, but when it comes to the paranormal, he's very much like Jake. I'm very much like Chris. What do you think it is that what is it about yourself that enjoys these things so much more?
Basically growing up in that house and then loving paranormal shows as a kid. I'm talking like Goosebumps, you know what I mean? Reading Goosebumps books, watching Are You Afraid of the Dark, and then just getting that like goosebumps kind of like, I want to do this. This is so cool. And the fact that I've seen this and then there's shows about it, I got to be in this somehow, some way. It took 35 years to finally get it going, but better late than never. But I've just loved it for so long. It scares the crap out of me. It still does. Like, I've been invited to a couple of haunted house kind of things, but I don't know if I can go that far yet.
Oh, dude, I think that's the next level you need to take this to, is to a couple of investigations, to have some of those experiences yourself.
I might have to get like a cross and bless it first, just to have some kind of backup. But yeah, I'm definitely getting to that point where I want to do it.
Oh no! Do you have a show over there, just out of interest, called Most Haunted, the British show?
Yes, we do.
Well, Yvette Fielding, who's the host of that, lives about 5 miles away from where we are right now.
Oh, cool.
No way, that's awesome.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
so jealous.
I drove past the house the other day. She was having a food delivery. It caused me to slow down for far too long because it's a very old property with old gates that took ages to get opened.
You could have just been like, "Hey, is that egg rolls? Those look really, really good."
yeah. But no, yeah, I've never met her, to be honest with you. I've emailed her a few times to try and get her on the podcast. She's having none of it.
Well, people are very secretive, and some like to keep it that way.
They are. I can't say I blame her. I'd ignore my emails too. So, so what's next then? What, how far can you take this? What's your ultimate goal to do with this?
Oh, the sky's the limit. I would like watching all the stuff on, like you said, Most Haunted. It seems like the UK is the most haunted place with all the old stuff, all the old buildings, all the old castles. Eddie Hall, I know you know him. He's my favorite strongman. Not know him, but know of him. But he did an investigation in an old castle on his YouTube channel, and it was just like, man, I want to go to the UK. I want to explore. I want to know the history. I want to know all the haunted history. I want to see everything.
You got to think they're so much older than us. I mean,
Oh my God,
America's so young. They got so much more stuff.
It has so much to say and so much history to be told. I want to know. I want to see.
Well, again, this is going to sound like name dropping again, isn't it? But Eddie Hall is also not far from where. So Eddie Hall is a Stokey. He's from Stoke-on-Trent.
Right.
I work in Stoke-on-Trent. There's a guy I drive past Eddie Hall's gym when I drop him off. He literally is just around the corner from us. And a friend of mine, have you ever seen the show Come Down With Me? Where four people go. I don't know if you have it over there.
No, I
don't think we do.
You get four strangers and they cook. And a friend of mine was on that show, and Eddie Hall was also on the show. So he cooked dinner for Eddie Hall, and Eddie Hall went over to Eddie Hall's house and had Eddie cook dinner for him.
That's amazing. That's awesome.
Yeah. And my friend won, beat Eddie as well. And Eddie don't lose too many competitions.
No.
That's
awesome.
He's not known for that.
No, God, no. That dude's focus is crazy. No matter it's weightlifting, no matter anything. His focus is just...
Well, even his fights lately have been crazy.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Extraordinary.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to take out, what's his name? Tommy Fury.
Tommy
Fury.
Yeah. Oh, my. That kid has a death wish. I mean, he's a good boxer, but Eddie Hall, no way.
Yeah, I mean, they don't call him the Beast for no reason.
Right.
Exactly.
No. So his kids, I don't think they go to... My brother's a teacher. They don't go to my brother's school. But it's not too far away. My brother's seen it because he drives around in a tank.
Yeah,
There ain't publicity. He does genuinely drive around the streets in a tank sometimes. And my brother's seen him.
It's crazy to hear that confirmation that he really does do that. Because
I think there's actually a YouTube video of him getting pulled over in his tank.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm pretty sure there's a thing.
Yeah, but it's crazy that that's actually real, because when you're watching it on YouTube, it's like there's no way he's getting away with that.
But there's also Schwarzenegger does the same thing, but he had to pull all kinds of permits and all kinds of stuff.
I don't know how legal it is to drive a tank around, but my brother says, you see him like picking his kids up from school and stuff.
He goes through Mickey D's with it. It's crazy.
Imagine being a kid and your dad picking you up in an army tank. That's like,
oh my God,
super dad status.
Yeah, Superman. My dad's better than Superman. Just to say,
he looks like a superhero. Anyway, with that build, it's ridiculous.
He's the size of a wall.
Yeah. I've never met him, but I tell you what, I'd love to.
Me too.
What
do you do for work outside of the podcast?
I work for, I won't say the name on here. I work for a betting company, so I look at sports odds and what have you, that kind of exciting stuff. And Gaz, who normally is on it with us, he's a teacher as well.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So, which is why we get weekends free and stuff, and evenings to do this kind of stuff. We're quite fortunate.
Nice.
Yeah. So in terms of the hauntings, then, okay. So the last bit that I watched, you were doing a two-parter. I haven't. Forgive me if the part 2 has dropped, but I haven't watched. So Sarah's story, you've done part 1. Tell us a little bit about that.
Sarah's story is very, very creepy. And I want to put it out there that when I read it, I didn't put two and two together. But it says this is happening in the autumn of 2026. And after a few times, one of my friends actually texted me like, hey, I don't know if you screwed up, but it says autumn of 2026. And I was like, no, I got to read the email because I didn't want to put out, hey, I screwed up. It's 2025. But I read the email, and that's actually saying this is happened in the future. I put in the description because nobody fessed up to this story in the email. It came from an email. I don't know who it's from, but I won't say the email because that's private. But there's no name, no anything. Just the subject says, please read this on your show. And the whole time I'm reading this, I'm getting goosebumps right now, just because of the lady with the broken neck outside, the man in the tall jacket, blood red jacket. Please go listen to it. It's part 2 is coming soon. It's coming soon. I'm working on it. I'm just trying to put it together the right way because it's very long, very, very long, and I'm trying to kind of shorten it for viewer wise. Maybe I'll even make like a part where you can listen to the whole thing if they want, but it would be very long. But yeah, it's crazy. Part 2 is dropping soon, so keep listening.
I mean, like you say, it is creepy. It's a real creepy story. And, I was hooked. And it's one of those ones, where like tune in next week and you think, you son of a, because I want to hear the conclusion. I want to hear the conclusion.
On purpose.
Yeah. Oh, no, it's great. How difficult is it to do that sort of short episode format, to get all that information into that sort of time frame?
Oh, my God. I screw it up all the time. Especially the reading of it. But no, it's difficult because Instagram has a thing, I guess, that I just learned about, where if it's over 3 minutes, it won't be, it can't be a reel. It won't get out there as much. But it's like, but I have so much information, I can't fit it into 5 minutes, nonetheless 3. You know what I mean? So it's a challenge. It's definitely a challenge.
No. I can imagine that it is. We do these episodes and we find ourselves, sometimes we will go over the hour that we try and allot ourselves, because our idea is, the idea of this podcast is it's just a couple of guys having a beer, having a chat in a pub, finding out something from people who they're meeting for the first time in most instances. But we want people to listen to it on their commute to and back from work. That's the idea. So we try and keep it to an hour. That's most people's. Right. I don't know what your guys' commute is less than that, is it? Do you live near your shop? I don't know.
Yeah, my commute's about 5 steps
out the door.
It's pretty easy.
One episode takes him a little while to get through with the.
Excuse me for 5 minutes, real quick. I'll be right back. Sorry.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right, dude. Yeah. Yeah, like you say, so yeah, that's the idea with that. So the short episode, and don't get me wrong, for consumption purposes, short episodes are fantastic because you can then binge watch. You know yourself, when you stick Netflix on at night, you want to watch one of those paranormal shows, perhaps.
It draws you in.
Yeah, you can get sucked in and go down that rabbit hole.
Absolutely.
So just out of interest, then, so when this one. Very difficult to authenticate because it's it hasn't theoretically happened yet. I mean that's unique in itself, though. And getting an email from like that,
that's my understanding, that it's happening and it's like some type of premonition. But I wrote in the description of the story, if this is your story, please let me know if this is a typo, because if this is a premonition or like somebody seeing into the future, I want to know the whole thing. You know what I mean? I want to know more from you. This is intriguing. I want to know what else you have. Please send in more. You know what I mean? So, I don't know if she's a psychic, some like a psychic medium type of person, but him, her, anybody, I want them to reach out. I want to know more. This is probably one of the most fascinating stories besides the mental institution that I've ever gotten. Yeah. So yes, please, if you're out there, contact me.
Yeah, hey man. In terms of when the audio version of this episode drops as well, the audio version will drop in early to mid-May. So hopefully we'll have that out there. So you know, you listen to this, you can go and tune, you can have the denouement of that story. So difficult then, that one, to try and authenticate. When you get these emails, do you know, first of all, do you think do you have to sift through a few where you think someone's taking the mickey here?
Absolutely. I've received weird ones that aren't paranormal, like just nonsense. That's the troubles with putting an email out there. You're gonna get some weird crap as well. That's really weird. But I have sorted through some where it's been kind of like, this is kind of boring. Like, you know, it's like, it's not that, okay, that was mean. I'm not saying that people's story are boring, but not on the realm of supernatural collaboration medias. Supernatural collaboration medias are more along the lines of horror. Besides two I have on there because they're kind of like sentimental, emotional stories that when I read them, it hit close to heart. And it was like, okay, even though supernatural collaboration media is kind of like more horror story genre, I'm putting these up because they have to be heard.
Yeah, definitely. And then do you go some way to try and sort of find the provenance of the story, just to, you know, try and authenticate it, you know? Because I mean, the thing for me is whenever I hear about a ghost story and the idea of somebody, you know, potentially being haunted by someone, I automatically want to know what the history is there. What's, you know, I'm with you, you know, the idea of it being the soul of somebody, you know, somebody who's passed, you know, many years ago, you know, it's impossible to authenticate in many ways, but just that idea that maybe there's a little bit of truth in that can be found.
Yeah, well, hearing them online, it's difficult because I don't know where the person's from or the history of it. But yeah, if anybody tells me like, yeah, you know, at my grandmother's house, we used to say, see this, this, and this. I'll go on Google. I'll look up the house. I'll look up the past history, and I want to know. You know, I want to know if it's somebody that lived there, or not to get too into it, but was it brought there? You know what I mean? A lot of people dabble into spirit boards, spirit boxes, all this stuff, and open portals that bring things out. So, you know what I mean? There's souls, but there's also people playing around with stuff that they shouldn't play around with that bring bad things out.
Ouija boards, you ever done one?
No, never done a Ouija board. I don't know if you've seen it, but Paranormal State, Ryan Buell, he said never mess around with them. They bring bad stuff. So that always was like, okay, I'm good. I'm never gonna do that. Seances, I've been around a couple just as a kid. Nothing happened. But I do believe that Ouija boards should not be messed around with.
Yeah, I've done a few, and most of it is because some drunken idiot's pushing the glass around.
Right.
That's exactly what it is. Don't fool me, Plato.
No. and normally you can figure out which drunken idiot it is as well. And once or twice it's been me.
Yeah,
I can remember we did one right when we were kids. We were staying over at a mate of mine. His parents were away, and we did this Ouija board. And one of the lads went home because he got a bit too spooked anyway. And the glass starts moving. We couldn't be sure who was moving it anyway. And you know, we were a bit like, well, it was a bit weird. It was complete gibberish. It wasn't making any sense to anybody. And then next minute, like, this lad's dog is at the window outside where we are going absolutely berserk. Okay. And we're like, Jeff, what are you doing? We told you stick your dog in, like, away. And he's like, no, I promise you, I locked it in the kitchen. There's absolutely no physical way it could have got out there. So he goes into the kitchen and the back door is wide open and it slams shut. And that's it. Like, Jeff is a little, at this point, he's absolutely petrified. And his fear rubs onto the rest of us. We've got this dog going nuts outside. So my brother says, you know what we have to do? We have to, we have to break the glass. So my brother's a big guy, 6'6". He gets this glass, he goes into the garage and he slams it down onto the ground. And I kid you not, the damn thing bounced. I have never seen it. Yeah, we were shitting ourselves at this point. Yeah, I mean, nothing bad happened, but we'd spooked ourselves basically.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
No,
but
that's,
no,
a good, that's a good thing because I think the thing that you're supposed to do with spirit boards is say goodbye, and you need that piece for it to say goodbye.
yeah, probably a good job I didn't break them. No, yeah, these, I do think these things aren't necessarily to be messed with. So the house that you grew up, like, don't give away any names again, but the house where you grew up could you find any sort of any history to the place? You don't have to share names and what have you, but anything that potentially may have happened there.
No, that's the crazy thing. Like the person that lived there was a teacher, and it was
Well, the house was from the 1800s.
yeah, that from the previous owner. That's all we knew. But the house was so old that I mean, the insulation was horsehair insulation.
That wasn't insulation. It was horsehair plaster. What the walls were made out of.
Right. So it was that old before we got into it and before the previous owner got into it. When you looked at the house, it just looked old. You know what I mean? Not like a broken down,
Really
bad home. I'm trying to be nice here. Beautiful now. But yeah, it just looked old and creepy. Very cold. Very, very cold.
Okay. Well, there's that sort of feeling whenever anybody who ever reports anything about a ghost that they've experienced, that drop in temperature.
Oh yeah, isn't that weird? It's like at any point in time, it's like, and all of a sudden it got cold. You know what I mean? I felt cold. I got goosebumps. I got chills, and then this happened. So cold is definitely affiliated with the paranormal.
It is. It is. Whether you believe it or not, Jake.
He's
I just thought the furnace was broken.
Yeah. It was.
Pilot was out.
So the other story of yours that I wanted to bring up that you've shared on there is Samuel T's hiking story.
Yes.
Tell our listeners a little bit about that one.
That one was more, I wouldn't say it was scary. It was more not emotional, but it was kind of like inspiring almost, and an inspiring haunting, if you will. This guy was going through a rough time, and something told him to go back to the beginning. And that meant back to the beginning of his life when he was good. So he got himself a flip phone and an iPod Classic and went out for a hike. And some bad weather came in, and he got really, really nervous because he was already panicking at the time about everything that was going on in his life. And he met up with somebody in the woods that was hiking as well and told him to, hey, we got to head back. And interestingly enough, this guy actually started talking about what was bothering him. And the guy just kind of consoled him and said, look, like everything you're doing is good. And by the end of the walk, this guy said that he had a compass that he'd lost and he was going to go back for it. And the guy told him, like, hey, you look like you got plenty of compasses. And he told him not to go back, but this was the special one that his wife had got him. So he went back. Later on, fast forward, he was at a convenience store and saw the guy's picture and saw that he went missing July of 1995. I'm going by memory here.
Yeah.
So the dates might be wrong.
I doubt it. This kid has the best memory on the planet.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. But then he asked the cashier. He was like, "Who is that? I just talked to that guy. He had a compass and da 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 da." And then the cashier said, "Was it a gift from his wife?" And he went, "Yeah." And she said, "I'm still waiting for him to bring it back and come home." And it was like, wow, that's awesome. Like I said, Supernatural, the podcast is definitely more horror genre, but you can't pass up on a story like that. You read it and, you get the feels in your stomach and the goosebumps and everything like that. And it's like, people got to hear that. That's so cool.
That one gave me chills when I listened to that one. Really gave me chills, because it just sounded authentic. It sounded authentic when you hear the story. It was. I found it fascinating. In terms of yourselves, then stuff like that. I do wonder, how well it could transfer, I'm not taking away from anything you do, because honestly, I do think it's fantastic. When you reached out and you said you wanted to be on the podcast, I was delighted to have you guys on, because I love anything paranormal, and I love it when people do it well. I've only got a voice like yours, dude. I'm telling you what, you have got a great voice for these things.
Thank you so much.
I do wonder if you can take this onto YouTube and do it a little bit longer format, almost like tackle some more in-depth stories, especially the area that you're based in. You're in that New England area, which has got sort of a rich witchcraft history as well, whether there must be some
Salem, you're right. Yeah. If you look hard enough, you'll find one. I started one in the very beginning and kind of got busy and was like, I can't make full-length ones. I just have time for like 2 to 3 minutes right now. But if you look hard enough, it's out there, and I really want to do it. I thought of, like, actually his idea, doing the story and then finding places alike with that story, like whether it's a haunted house and then finding an abandoned house and walking around the house while the story is playing. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that's like full-length videos for YouTube. That was the original idea, and I would still love to do that. I think that's an awesome idea. Yeah, no, I do. I mean, like I said, when I tried the different podcasts we tried, we did the History of Haunting podcast. One of the things that I did, it was an audio podcast. There was no video. I haven't got that level of videography skill. I don't have that level of ability. I don't have the eye for it. And I went out and I recorded the story. But then the other thing I did was I went to the place and visited it. So things like the Eam Plague Village. So, you talk about England having a history. Back when we had the plague here in the 1600s, there's a little village. It was about an hour and a half from here in Derbyshire called Eam. And what they did, the Reverend Montpasson had sort of said, it's a small village. We can't, we've got the plague here. We can't risk passing it on to local villages. So they shut themselves off. It literally was, you talk about a lockdown, that's exactly what it was. And they sealed themselves off. Any trading they did with local villages nearby had to have the food left by there. And the money was placed in buckets of vinegar, so that they could help themselves, and they weren't going to pass any illnesses on. And obviously, so many people in this village died. And you can go around. The cottages are still there from the 1600s. People live in them now, but there's a plaque outside saying, there was 17 people living in these 3 cottages, and 14 of them died. Honestly, it wiped out most of the village. And there's some great, and they documented it all as well. So there's a great history to it. You can go into the museum of the place and see the plague masks. And I went there and I recorded it. And when you do that, like you say, you get a real feel for it. Knowing that these things have took place where you stood, maybe hundreds of years beforehand, you get a real feel for it, and you can, you're absorbed in it. And I do think, like I say, I'm not blowing smoke up your ass when I say it. Your voice for it, dude, you will be perfect for doing that kind of stuff. Honestly, it's, when you first started talking there at the start, because we hadn't spoken before we did this podcast. First time.
Yeah, I genuinely believed you'd done it through AI. I thought this quality of this AI is ridiculous. I need to find out what app this guy uses so he can do some voiceovers for our stuff.
No, I'm all real.
You're going to take over Morgan Freeman?
Yeah.
I'm telling you, dude. I'm telling you, you could be red.
Thank you so much. Once again, I'm going to blush. Thank you so much. Thank you.
No, honestly, I'd like to see you explore that kind of format, visiting those different places. So, in terms of ghost stories, then it might not be one that you've shared. What's you both, Jake? I've got a feeling you're not going to have one to share with us. But what's your favorite? What's your favorite ghost story then that you've heard?
I hate to interrupt. Area 51. Please.
Oh, do we have to talk about that?
Please.
So when I was like 21 or 22, I was working for Harley, but I actually wasn't old enough to rent a Harley. I went to Las Vegas. So I ended up renting Enduro BMW 1200 GS. So I rode through Death Valley to California and back in one day, which was rugged. But I started seeing all these white Jeeps everywhere. Like I said, I'm not like a huge believer in this stuff, but like there was just white Jeeps. And of course I was a kid. in Las Vegas going through Death Valley, so I didn't stay on the road. You know what I mean? So I went off the beaten path, and then like white Jeeps just surrounded me. And I was like, and like guys in white suits came out, and I was just like, oh boy. Like I just got out of there. And yeah, that's as far as I'm gonna go with that. I don't know what was going on. I just knew I just beat feet.
Yeah.
I don't think they were metal detecting. I think he rode into something that was going on, and how he got away.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that was a fun one. I just 180 power slid and got out of there.
You didn't get to speak to any of them, though. No conversation.
No,
with them.
I didn't want to speak to anyone.
Yeah, it's probably the same.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they were just looking for oil or something. I don't know what was going on.
The black oil, I think, from the X.
Yeah, I don't know. If the cigarette smoking man was out there.
Exactly.
I don't know what the hell was going on.
No, I tell you, I've been to Vegas a number of times. I've never been out there on the ET Highway, but I tell you, Area 51 is fascinating. It is fascinating because there's something there. It might just be government secrets.
Why would they be guarding it that much?
Maybe it was just a Jeep rendezvous. Maybe it was just like a car show.
Just like a car show in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Hey, come back. Vending is coming soon.
I don't know, man. That's cool. That is
But
pretty
if you
cool.
ever decide to get on two wheels and you want to go for a ride, that Death Valley ride is incredible. It's beautiful. Like I went in February, so it was still like 70 degrees, but like you go over the mountains, you go through the plateaus, like you go to the lowest destination on, I think, in America on Earth.
I think so, yeah. I'm pretty sure.
I mean, it is so beautiful. Just, I mean, you don't get GPS. You're on a paper GPS. You better be able to use a compass and a map.
MapQuest.
I mean, it is beautiful. Like you think Death Valley, like it's just going to be sand, but it's not. It's absolutely beautiful.
No. I mean, this is what I love about America. I've visited like the States a number of times, and I just love the juxtaposition that you can be. You know, you've got the mountain climates, and then where you are is a very, very different part. You know, we're fortunate where we are in Europe. Like I said, like Gaz has just buggered off to Italy. That we've got all those other countries nearby, but what you've got is, you know, you've got 50 states, and every state is different, more or less.
Completely different.
Oh, yeah. Crazy.
Yeah. Fabulous. Honestly, yeah, I'm very, very envious of anybody who lives in the States.
It's beautiful. I mean, we don't, like I talked to my wife. I was like, let's just not get on a plane again. Like, we don't have to. You know what I mean? Like we can just go wherever we want. It's like basically anywhere in America is just, I mean, it's just beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh no, it is. It is. It's fantastic. Like I say, my cousin's in Texas. I've stayed with him a couple of times. I love Texas. But yeah. So what about yourself, Chris? Tell us what's your favorite ghost story?
Oh my goodness. There's so many. I hate to select from my own, podcast, but I think my favorite one would have to be not the scariest, but one of the sentimental ones. It was about a guy named Lewis. And you have to listen to it. I won't waste it. It's just such a beautiful story. It is so nice. Seriously, not promoting myself. You just have to hear this person's story about this guy named Lewis. It's amazing. You'll shed a tear. I almost did. It's crazy. It's so, I hate to keep using the word, but beautiful. From the horror that I've put out there, from every horror story that I heard, that's my favorite above all. There's no gore. There's no, it's just such a cool story.
So just out of interest then, we'll segue a little bit away from what you do. Are you guys fans of the horror genre then in terms of the movies?
Oh my God.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. You got to realize Michael Myers was our babysitter.
We could have another podcast.
Maybe we should. Maybe we should actually, because I tell you what, I grew up, I loved horror movies. This true story.
A Nightmare on Elm Street, everything.
Yes, I love Freddy Krueger, love Jason Voorhees as well. When we were kids, okay, no word of a lie, I was 11 and my brother was 8, maybe even younger. So we had back then when you had Blockbuster, we had video shops here, and my nan would write me a letter to take in and say, please let my grandsons have 18 certificate horror movies.
That's how we
It's
used to buy
fine. And we
any
did. We watched, you know, I mean, I'd have sleepless nights because I was scared, absolutely terrified. And was American Werewolf in London. I'm telling you now, for me, is one of the greatest films ever made. Have you seen
Terrific. Oh my
Yeah.
God, so good.
So good.
I haven't seen it in a while. I'm actually going to watch it soon. I totally forgot about that. But terrific movie.
It's irrespective of horror movies, it's a fantastically made film. It's got a great story.
Yep, it's incredible. I love that movie.
Yeah, one of my
favorite one.
Yeah. Well, maybe we'll do this. Maybe we'll have next time we have you back on. We'll do about, because just some classic horror movies.
We are
We are a movie buff family.
like oh my God, we had movie nights. We
are a huge movie family.
Oh my God, yeah, we still do.
Yeah.
Friday night pizza night. Movies.
Name a movie, I'll recite all the lines.
Absolutely. But we are so in.
Oh, awesome! Yeah, we will do that. We'll get you guys on later in the year. We're booked up till May, and then I'm on my travels in May. So we'll look at getting you on an episode in June if that's okay.
Oh yeah, we'll be here. Absolutely.
Yeah, you definitely need to do one of my horror movies. But we wrap things up round about the hour mark. But I'm not going to let you guys go without sharing a few links to your social media and where we can find your other stuff. We'll share some notes as well. Share some links, in the notes for the audio, so that people can click on them. And they can find your Instagram, and they can listen to the stories that you told us about, and then go and find that specific story that you want people to listen to. Well, tell us where we can find you online.
It is Instagram, Supernatural Collaboration Media. And then I want you to check out Iron Rose Customs on Instagram, and that's the videography side of Supernatural Collaboration Media. And
Iron Rose Customs LLC.
Yep. From each of our Instagrams, you can find us on either one. Then from Iron Rose Customs Instagram, you can see the Iron Rose Customs LLC website built by him and I.
Cool. I will share links to the Instagram, and I'll share links to that website as well in the show notes. So people don't have to look too far. We'll make it nice and easy for them. They can just click on that link and go and find you. So I just leave it to me to say thank you very much for joining me tonight and sharing your stories, and and finding out a little bit more about what you do and what you plan to do. Because I look forward to seeing what you do. One of the things that we like to do, like I say, we're going to jump back in and we'll do an episode and we'll talk about horror movies. But I always keep following these people. So please stay in touch anyway. But I like to see, the people that we've had as guests on the podcast, what they do and then they go on to afterwards. Because it's just great to see
the progress.
So, yeah, I love to see it. I love to see it. Like I said, I'm not a big biker, but you see some of those machines like Andy's Harley. It's a beautiful bike, but I don't know anything about it. I don't know what I'm looking at. I don't know which bits do what. But
there's always room to learn.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't really go anywhere. I'm right here, phone call away.
Oh no, that's awesome. That's awesome. So thank you guys very much for joining me.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Just if you'd like to say goodbye to our listeners.
Take care. Thank you so much for watching, and we look forward to seeing you again in June.
Yeah, thank you so much. This was a lot of fun. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Hey, man, the pleasure was all ours, and we will be back next week when we'll be talking about something entirely different again.
Friends around the mic, kicking back, all right. Day turns into night, podcast in the spotlight. Sipping on that brew, talking all